Each and every one of us has an unlimited inner wellspring of spiritual power. You have the ability to transform, create, and heal anything upon which you set your heart and mind. Join me, Sarah Hall, as we learn how to uplift all aspects of your life through spiritual empowerment. Enjoy weekly guided meditations, spiritual discussions on a multitude of topics, and a chance to call in to receive channeled messages from the angels on your spiritual journey. I'm Sarah Hall, and this is Through the Eyes of the Angels.
Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today, my fellow weavers of the light. It's such an honor to connect with you. Now today I'm going to be diving into a rather mystical topic. We are going to be discussing manifestation, but perhaps not in a way that you've heard before. But let's go ahead and start with the basics first. What is the concept of manifestation? As a metaphysical term, manifestation refers to the idea of attracting an outcome through the power of your consciousness. So basically, the common thought around this is that when you want something, you set an intention, and then you work to think and feel in such a way that reflects the belief that you have what it is you want. The energy that results from this strong belief then matches with the energy of the object of your desire. And through the law of attraction, which is basically a law that states that energy attracts like energy, that object of your desire shows up in your life. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? And it is. It truly is. If you've heard of law of attraction and manifestation before, then what I just described probably sounds familiar to you. But according to the angels, there is more to manifestation than that we can actually come to understand that will help us to really be able to experience it. So let's start with the first big divine secret or principle of manifestation. And that is the all, so in other words, everything that is mind. You might also perhaps say God is mind. What many of us refer to as God is, in effect, a great cosmic mind within which all is contained. The angels are really guiding me to break this down for you, so let's look at this even more closely. Picture in your mind your concept of the universe. You can start with your world. Perhaps you envision your body, all the places and things and experiences that make up your life. Got that in your head? Okay. Now zoom out and see planet Earth, all the places, people, animals, plants, etc. And then go ahead and zoom out again and let yourself imagine our solar system. Zooming out, our Milky Way galaxy. And then go out a little bit further, letting yourself just be aware of the fact that there are many galaxies, and perhaps even wrapping your mind around the concept that this can go on in an infinite way. Now, with that picture in your mind, you've probably conceptualized our physical human imagining of these things. Maybe you saw a physical picture of planet Earth. You saw stars, you saw space, etc. Well, the physical plane is but one layer of reality. And actually, it's not even the most significant layer when it comes to understanding reality's functioning, according to the angels. The angels want to give us an analogy here. So the physical layer is sort of like a field of lovely green plants. The physical part being what we see on the surface, the stems, the leaves, etc. Underneath the plant that we see on the surface, there's a support system. There's the roots and the land that holds the plant there. Without the land, the soil to give support to that plant life, there would be no plant. Now, the mental or consciousness plane of reality is sort of like that supportive layer. And the same way that earth can hold space for the plant that you see on the surface, the mental or consciousness plane of reality gives support to the physical reality. It's funny. The angels, in fact, think it's a little bit humorous in an endearing sort of way that at this time, much of our human thought actually assumes it's the other way around, that the physical reality somehow gave way to accidental consciousness. According to the angels, higher perspective of metaphysical reality dictates that that's actually not possible. That's not how it works. Consciousness is the bedrock of reality. Consciousness. It's a force interwoven into absolutely everything that exists. Everything. Whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, or who knows, perhaps belonging to some even higher dimension that we have yet to perceive. Mind is all. The all is mind. That's the first principle. Okay, so the angels would now like us to refer back to the concept of God, the divine as a creator, as a source from which reality flows. And if you're familiar with the Judeo-Christian Sufist concept of God, the creator, you've probably heard the idea that humanity is created in the image and likeness of God. This actually, according to the angels, is truthful, but it doesn't refer to the way our physical bodies look. Not that. What this refers to is our essence, the consciousness that we are. Our consciousness is an exact microcosm reflection of the macrocosm. In other words, it is a replicated offshoot of that greater mind that is the all. Which takes us to the second divine secret of manifestation, and that is, as above, so below. As it is below, so it is above. In order to understand this, imagine, if you will, a fractal. Do you know what a fractal is? If you can, go ahead and actually look up a picture of it right now. A fractal is a geometric pattern that recurs at progressively smaller scales. The big picture replicated perfectly in the small parts that make up that bigger figure. This is a good picture for helping us to visually understand consciousness. Our consciousness is a replica of the consciousness, the source. Its functioning is therefore replicated, programmed into us, into all that we are. So if the divine source, that mind of the all, creates with mind, because mentality is the universal force that interweaves through all things that exists, it creates with mind, then we do too, because we function the same. All creation is rooted in, and again, originates from, the mental plane. So if you want to create, and you can create as God creates, of course, then begin with the conscious plane of reality. Your consciousness is amazing and capable of so much more than we yet fully realize, which I think is very exciting. So let's dive in and take a little bit of a closer look at your amazing consciousness so that we can just get a better understanding of how manifestation works. Let's start with the idea of a simple thought, any simple thought. A thought that sprouts up on the surface of your mind is actually related to many, many other things. So let's go ahead and try this. Let's picture in our minds a bird. You're now having a thought about a bird. That thought is probably being informed by what you've personally learned about birds. Perhaps you've seen them in nature, or you're picturing an image of a bird that you've seen on film or in a book. And maybe you're picturing a specific kind of bird in your mind based on maybe what your favorite bird is, or the most common familiar bird that you usually see is in your life. Now, that thought may also be accompanied by a feeling. If you've had bad experiences with birds in the past, maybe there's a fear that's connected to this when you picture a bird. If you've had good experiences with birds in the past, maybe it conjures up a feeling of beauty or inspiration or a fondness. Now, also underneath that thought of a bird are other things that you've learned about birds. It's connected to how they nest, what you know about how they eat, how they fly, the sounds they make, and so forth. All these different associations connected to that one thought, bird, or perhaps thousands of other mental associations rooted in the multiple layers of your consciousness. Associations that are there to help you to limit and narrow down what a bird is in order to distinguish it from other things in reality, in order for you to understand it and then relate with that part of our reality in a way that won't make our heads explode. And all those mental associations play an inseparable role in how you experience birds in your life. So as we can see in this example, consciousness functions in complex and very highly nuanced ways that vary so much from person to person, depending on what we've absorbed and built in our consciousness. Since manifestation is something accomplished and rooted in consciousness, okay, it too is just as intricately nuanced and individualized. So when a spiritual teacher or metaphysical philosopher will tell you something like, think positively and you'll get what you want, or assume that you're rich and you'll be rich, believe and feel that you have it and you'll have it. Well, this is kind of true, but really it's not so simple. It isn't, right? Because often an oversimplification of something can actually result in a misunderstanding of how it works. Over the years, I've had so many students and clients who have felt frustrated because they tried all the fads with regard to law of attraction and manifestation. They tried thinking positively. They tried to assume and believe that they already had what they wanted. They tried to attach feelings and emotions to that thing that they wanted to manifest to. And then, not in all cases, but in many, nothing, nada. Manifestation did not seem to work. They got frustrated and then they gave up. But when manifestation doesn't work, it's simply that a deeper consciousness shift is required. Because remember, consciousness is deeply nuanced. The object of your desire, the thing you're thinking about and trying to focus on and believe in, is, I can guarantee, associated with 1,000 other things in your consciousness. That thought that you're trying to manifest fits into a matrix of assumptions and other beliefs about reality that, again, were designed to simplify and narrow down in order to help you understand and identify what reality is and how you're supposed to relate with it. So for most of us, we don't go from just thinking, okay, I want $1 million. I'm imagining what it feels like. I'm focusing on it. I'm thinking super positive about it, to then poof, it appears. Why doesn't it work that way? Because you have 1,000 other deeply rooted beliefs and assumptions and emotions that you've been making your whole life for years and years about what money is and how you relate with it. And those things can sometimes alter a little bit with positive thinking. Yeah, you can change them But usually they don't just go away or completely transform at a foundational level with just a little wishful positive thinking on the surface. Most of us actually have to go deeper, much deeper than that, to work on the basic, deep beliefs that we hold about how reality works and who and what we are. You have to change what you believe and assume about reality and your role in it in order to create the bedrock of mentality that allows your desire to take root and manifest. Okay, so let's go deeper. Try working on healing your relationship with yourself. To first of all, cleanse yourself of limiting or self-defeating beliefs about who and what you are and what you're capable of or what you deserve. If you can heal and transform that first, that would be your prerequisite to being able to do any other kind of manifestation. Start there. Which is why actually in my manifestation course, I have a manifesting abundance course, for example, the angels guided me to teach people how to first just transform what you know about reality. Explant outdated limiting beliefs from your self-concept and your world concept, and then implant new beliefs based in a more truthful depiction of spiritual reality as a whole. And for many of us, this actually requires forgiving the not only limiting, but sometimes painful, fear-based or toxic beliefs we've been taught through our cultural or familial conditioning our whole lives. If you don't do that inner work first, if you don't explore those unconscious assumptions and beliefs, that bedrock foundation of what you assume about reality, usually, if you don't do that, not too much ends up budging for you when it comes to achieving manifestation. So the third divine secret, we could then say, to understanding manifestation is to know that your consciousness is vast and full of connections and associations. And to know that you must change not just thoughts on the surface level of your mind, but also foundational beliefs about reality itself to help remove the limits you used consciously or unconsciously in the past to narrow down and understand reality so that you could understand it in a better way. You've got to erase that old stuff so you can understand reality in a more holistic, full, truthful experience. When you change those deeper beliefs, you've taken the first step, that first prerequisite step to preparing the way to be able to manifest. Now let's take the next step, which is also very, very crucial. We'll call this the fourth divine secret of manifestation for our purposes today. So we've learned that our multi-layered consciousness, our multi-layered conscious and unconscious relationship with the object of our desire strongly determines whether we're going to manifest our desires and also how we're going to manifest our desires. And on the road to transforming your conscious relationship with reality and yourself and the object of your desire, it is necessary to adopt what I'm going to call a God's will be done consciousness. God's will be done. What does that mean? A God's will be done consciousness is a state of being in which we graduate from being mostly focused upon ourselves as a separate individual to integrating an awareness of where we stand within the fabric of the greater divine mind, an awareness of our unity with all and harmony with the greater mental fabric of the universe. This is actually the area where most people end up blocking manifestation rather than allowing it. This is the big common stumbling point. Because you see, here's what happens. Our ego, which is the part of our consciousness, our self-concept, that is rooted in the idea of being a separate self ends up leading the way in our attempts to work manifestations. The ego is made of just one particular form of consciousness, fear. And fear can take many, many, many forms, including desire. Desire based in the belief or the assumption that we are lacking the thing that we desire. Desire often is something colored by the pain of not having what we want. Pain that unconsciously assumes and believes that it's possible to be without and disconnected from the object of our desires. So what happens here is that when people are focused within the ego while working on manifestation, they're unconsciously coming from an assumption that they lack what they want. So every time they think, I want $1 million, or even I'm imagining myself having $1 million, the subconscious energy and emotion that that thought is rooted in is actually fear and pain of not having it. And furthermore, usually fear that you need to have that object of your desire in order to feel less afraid, in order to feel more whole or deep down healed from the pain of ego consciousness. You're never going to manifest anything that way, except for manifesting more of that lacking and wanting and reaching and grasping and searching and trying to control and detach and hold on to things. Because remember, law of attraction states that energy attracts like energy. So ego consciousness attracts more ego consciousness. You can't just dress it up. You can't dress up desperate, fearful ego consciousness as positive thinking and get a good result. That doesn't work. Here's how you remedy this. Work on adopting a consciousness that essentially says, God's will be done. This consciousness is actually naturally unattached from the object of your desire. It associates no desperate longing, yearning, fear, pain, or lack with the object of your desire. Because this consciousness acknowledges that you're part of a much bigger mental whole, and that within that whole, you are already one with the object of your desire. God's will be done is a mental act that works like medicine on the ego. It dissolves that ego fear-based attachment, clears up the pesky desire that actually ended up blocking your manifestations, and frees up more mental space from desire. You're now in a mode of allowing. And it's only in that state of allowing that it will be possible for you to receive the thing you desire. So manifesting is not necessarily about effort, trying more, focusing more, pushing, wanting it more, controlling, working harder. It's about completely letting go, surrendering, allowing, trusting the higher consciousness that in truth is you. It is every bit a part of you as your physical body is, to move through you and just work naturally. And sometimes this God's will be done consciousness actually comes when we work to not only transform our relationship with wanting from fear to trust, but also comes to us when, after we shift our relationship with wanting, we also end up shifting what it is we want. We end up shifting what it is we wanted in the first place. Because the thing that you wanted from your ego, you only wanted from the mind of fear, the fear of being separate from God, from all, from sustenance, from support, from well-being. So when you transcend being afraid of separation and realize you're not separate, when you transcend being afraid of lacking sustenance, support, and well-being, oftentimes you start to see reality in such a way where your desire actually changes. You don't necessarily desperately want and need that winning lotto ticket anymore. You don't believe in conditional safety and well-being. You instead know that your safety and well-being are actually unconditional in truth. And you relate with the universe that way. And if you then manifest the winning lotto ticket, it might feel as arbitrary and inconsequential as manifesting a sunny day. The sunny days come and go and come, but the source of light is rooted in the spiritual plane into something infinite, something more constant than the passing forms that we see in the physical plane. Those passing physical forms don't matter so much because your source is God. You get everything you want from God. And emotionally, money is no longer perceived as your source or the condition that bars whether or not you get what you want and feel happy and safe. Can't do that for you anyway. It's just one of a million shifting languages through which source energy can express itself. So it doesn't really matter as much. The one thing it helps us to understand about God's will be done consciousness, it's also really helpful, is that it's never you, the individual, that manifests anything. You don't manifest anything. You're not doing anything. You're just a doorway through which the forces of the universe, the forces of life and nature pass through. You're not doing anything but acting as a passageway. And either you can act as a wide open, clear passageway that effortlessly allows source energy to move through you, or if you've got limiting beliefs, you act as a more narrow passageway with many filters through which source energy must pass so as to limit and narrow down what source energy may and may not appear as according to your will. So if you want your will to be done, let your will be God's will, not your ego's will. Your ego's will is going to be limited with a million blockages and filters and limit how creation works through you. But God's will is infinite, unlimited, and transcendent of the very nature of ego, and can show up as literally anything upon which you set your heart and your mind. So when you affirm God's will be done, what you're doing is saying, ego, get out of my way. Scat, I have no use for you and your silly illusions. Go. Let me see reality not as my ego would have me see it, but as God would have me see it. Let me experience and relate with reality, not as the limiting illusions of ego's fear would have me relate with it, but as God, or in other words, truth, would have me relate with reality. God's will be done. It means let me see the truth. I choose and allow myself to see reality as it actually is. A united fractal of oneness of which I am a part. A consciousness with a will that creates infinitely and without limits. I'll let that work through me. I'll trust that to show me who I am, what reality is, and how I can create within reality rather than my ego. God's will be done. I let go of my attachments, my desires, my fears, my limits, my illusions, and I let God appear as the all-sustaining truth in my life. I let myself see reality as it truly is. So in effect, you have to let go of what you want if you want to be able to receive it. And letting go means making complete and utter peace with the idea of not having it. Making peace with lack and letting go of lack helps you to transcend lack and ego where your manifestation goal is concerned. So, unlike what many manifestation teachers teach, you don't just imagine what it feels like to have the thing you want, then focus on that. No, that actually only reinforces lack consciousness and fear and conditional love. The idea that without this condition, without me having what I want, I'll also be without love. Love here being another word for God. That is an ego reinforcement. Instead, practice feeling comfortable and at peace equally with both having the object of your desire and not having the object of your desire. Imagine a life in which you don't get what you want, but you still feel completely fulfilled and at peace. And that would actually be 1,000 times more productive in manifesting that thing that you want than desperately obsessing with having the thing that you want. Imagine all the peaceful and fulfilling emotions and states of being that are yours unconditionally, whether you have that $1 million or don't have it. And you'll be light years closer to manifesting it with that kind of more peaceful, more ego-liberated, attachment-free state. So now the angels want to share what we're going to call the 6th divine secret to manifestation. 6? Is that the number we're on, I think? And that is love. Love is synonymous with God. Love. The thing we human beings refer to as love is a force that is more powerful than we yet fully comprehend. It is the substance of miracles because it's literally God, or source energy, in its purest, most potent, basic, essential, most ego-resistant, by the way, form. When you cultivate a consciousness of love, love within your relationship with yourself, with others, with the world, and so forth, you're actually closer to sustainably holding an awareness of the truth, seeing reality as it truly is. The energy of love is 1,000 times more potent than any other mental focus when it comes to the law of attraction. Because it's so free of ego, or good at freeing you from ego. Love is naturally boundless, unconditional, limitless. It's sort of like love is a force within our consciousness that is very immune to ego. So the more love we apply to our consciousness, the more medicine we apply. Medicine that heals and reverses the effects of ego. So if you want manifesting to be easier for you, if you want to make a consciousness shift that creates the basic belief foundations that enable you to be a manifester, then adopt a consciousness of love. And in order to do that, most of us also actually need yet another powerful mental spiritual tool, forgiveness, as we hinted at before. In order to make room for love, forgiveness is helpful because it cleans up the places in our consciousness that are blocked or warped as a result of fears from the ego. It opens and heals those parts so that we can allow more of love's consciousness to rule and lead our consciousness towards a greater awareness and embodiment of divine truth. So if you want to manifest well, forgive yourself, forgive others, and forgive the world. Forgive the false assumptions your ego made. Forgive reality of every bit of suffering your ego has allowed you to assume, to attach to believe in. That forgiveness cleanses the doors of consciousness, clears out attachments, opens your assumptions about reality to be available to the truth, clears a passageway for God's will, the forces of manifestation, to be done. Now, there's just one more point the angels wanted me to share with you guys today on this, and this is, we'll call the 7th secret of manifestation for our purposes today. This one excites me because personally, I just think that it's so mystical to think about. The seventh secret of manifestation is to stand in perfect balance of masculine and feminine energies. Now, what do I mean when I refer to masculine and feminine energies? I'm not at all referring to biological gender. I'm not in any way referring to cultural identity sense of gender either, not at all. Masculine and feminine refers to the way reality expresses itself in our paradigm as two polarities, as yin and yang, as giving and receiving. We all have equal parts of both masculine and feminine energy inside of us, whether we are biologically male or female or identify as male or female at that cultural identity level. In the same way that you inhale an equal amount to the times that you exhale, because it's literally impossible to be in any other way except equal inhales to equal exhales. So too are you equally relating with both male and female energy. You are both. You are both yin and yang energies all the time. Everybody is. What ego does is that it literally always has us relating with masculine and feminine energies in ways that throw our mind off balance. So ego is fear, as we've established, and ego will often cling desperately to one energy or another. It doesn't trust the natural flow of things. So it likes to grip and attach to things. And when it clings to the masculine energy overly much, for example, this manifests as someone who is maybe over controlling. Masculine energy is that side of our consciousness that sees things in the light. It perceives forms, right? Then it organizes, it uses logic, it taps into our ability to control things and to do things in reality, to discipline ourselves and that kind of thing. There is in this world's cultural values, by the way, a bit of a fear-based overemphasis on masculine energy at this stage in our evolution anyways. When fear ego clings to that imbalanced feminine energy on the other side of the spectrum, then this can lead to sometimes inaction, someone who's really passive, afraid to take action. They'd rather bypass power, ignore it, let life's forces just overpower you, whether those are emotions or physical feelings or maybe whatever else you're focusing on at the time. It makes for not being very, very grounded, not being very able to create and control things as you would want to. Makes it feel like other things are overpowering you. But when you balance both of those energies, you stand in alignment with your true spiritual nature as an expression of God. You also transcend the fears that might have you swinging from one energy to the next with fear and clinging. And instead, confidently integrate both energies, both masculine and feminine, the in-breath and the out-breath, so that those things can actually work together. The two energies combined create an awareness that is best summed up, perhaps, as faith. Balanced polarities within the inner forces of your consciousness lead to an awareness that you are a part of a bigger whole and simultaneously help you to trust in the bigger whole, helps you to allow the intelligence of love to flow into all parts of your multidimensional consciousness and unite them as one under one creative act. All the pieces of you line up, all the doors open up simultaneously, and like a key turning in a lock, there's an opening, an allowing of consciousness to move through you to manifest and create as God creates. Your will aligned with God's will perfectly. Faith creates that balance between masculine and feminine, healing, purging out, releasing, transcending fear, helps us to balance the masculine and feminine, making way for love to be the leading ruling principle, balances the masculine and the feminine. The point of manifesting is therefore not for you to get what your ego wants. That wouldn't be very good for us if it were possible. The point is for us to align in harmony with the higher divine will and create, live, and breathe with it, to flow with it, to allow ourselves to be its open instruments and dance within the greater cosmic flow. And in this way, you'll be more fulfilled than your ego could ever imagine, could ever possibly conceptualize. By the way, the angels also teach that when at a larger collective scale, masculine and feminine polar energies are balanced, peace and harmony actually reign supreme at a collective level. When these things are out of balance, it's a sign that fear is leading over love. And then when they're in balance, it's a sign that love is leading over everything else, and therefore truth is leading too. We've got a lot of faith. We can stand in faith and let the forces of nature move through us, but we can also stand in power and use our will to control them. So using the will, being empowered, that's the masculine. The trusting, allowing the flow side is the feminine side. You need both to manifest, right? The masculine side of you gets the great idea. The feminine side surrenders to the cosmic forces and allows you to receive that idea, allows it to move through you, birth through you. So that balance gives way to also, according to the angels, I think this is fascinating, it gives way to a natural state of collective empathy, compassion, wholeness, because the consciousness of love is leading the way for all, restoring us to a collective realization of our balance where we're all together, allowing ourselves to be sustained and nurtured perfectly and unconditionally as a sort of, heavenly paradise kind of scenario. We can do that. We can. It's written into our DNA. That's at the building blocks of our essence. We can manifest it. That state, it's encoded into the essence of your existence in the love. It's the love. It's the basic force of your consciousness. That love force that gives rise to your existence. So just as a very simple closing thought, love is the key to manifestation. Okay? The more you love and anchor love in your life, give it and receive it and make way for it at every level of your being, the more you embody who you are in divine truth, and the more clearly and effortlessly you'll manifest everything that you, the God you, wills. So with that, let's go ahead and practice holding love's consciousness for a moment together in a guided meditation. Yay. So if you're in a good environment to do so, I invite you to just let your body get nice and relaxed. And you can close your eyes if you're in a good space for that too. And take in a few nice, relaxing, comforting deep breaths. Noticing the body relax and the mind and spirit aligning with that rhythm of deep, relaxed breathing. Feeling all is well and everything is peace, functioning just as it should be. With your next inhale, visualize that you're breathing white light in. And allow that white light to represent the whole rainbow spectrum of consciousness, love's consciousness, pure love in its purest form. Breathe that energy in now. Notice that energy moving into your physical body, filling up every cell, witnessing the harmony and health of the magnificent body. And notice that white light, that essence of love, also filling and illuminating the mind. Illuminating your individual consciousness, which is just one layer of consciousness, and then spreading out, relating you with the greater and deeper layers of consciousness, your subconscious mind, and beneath that, the shared conscious mind with everyone and everything. The spiritual fabric of all. Breathe in white light and feel yourself becoming one and whole. With your next deep inhale, think the following thought with your inner spiritual voice. God's will be done. I allow love's consciousness to reign supreme. God's will be done. Now, with your next deep healing breath, feel as white light pours in through the top of your head, and as you become a river, as that white light moves down the spine, out the body, and into the earth. You are a channel, a clear and open conduit and passageway for the pure essence of source energy. Witnessing this, think the thought, I am. I am this. I surrender to the infinite. I allow the flow. I allow. And with your next deep breath, notice that everything in your life is relaxing. That you're literally letting go of everything, every attachment, all unconscious effort or tension dissolves. Know that there is a part of you that can surrender completely in trust and faith to the forces of love. We're going to take in just 2 more deep breaths, breathing in that energy of love and letting it anchor in your heart and belly. And then with your exhale, feeling that energy expanding out into your life. Let's gather in 1 more deep breath together like this, inhaling. And then with your exhale, gently opening the eyes. And slowly, at your own pace, just letting yourself shift right back into the here and now. Good. Thank you so much for that. It always feels amazing to meditate with you guys. So let's now come together and share. I always love to hear from you, your questions, your thoughts on this stuff. And I'll, of course, share with you the angel's guidance. So if you want to share a question, go ahead and do so in the chat room at bringmetolife.com. You just type your question in the chat area there. You can also call or text 240-979-6366. Again, 240-979-6366. Also, if you'd like to donate to the Bring Me to Life network while you're at it, you can do that. Bring Me to Life is here helping to deliver this podcast to you right now. It's a wonderful nonprofit organization that works to help communities by bringing spiritual healing and inspiration to others online, so much for free too, which is amazing. So if you wanted to donate to Bring Me to Life, go ahead and just click that donate button on the page. And I'm also going to be working with some oracle cards today too, if I'm getting guidance to pull a card for you from your angels. And today I'm working with the Answer is Simple oracle cards by Sonia Choquette. So with that, let's go to our first question. Yay. Okay, so we have a question from Molly. Molly says, "Hi, Sarah, this is Molly. I'm hoping to hear from the angels for guidance around starting a family with my partner, Noah." Yay! Congratulations, Molly. Okay, I'm really excited because a lot of times when I tune into people intuitively, the angels will communicate the message based on the feelings that they just channel into my heart as soon as I start to dial into that person. And oh my gosh, Molly, I have to tell you, I'm so excited when I tune into you. It's like a completely, I can't even give ownership to this feeling because it just came in. Your angels want you to know that they are celebrating this, that they are so excited for you, and that this is a big yes. I feel so much explosive, exciting, beautiful love coming to you and Noah. I do feel the presence of some very special souls that would come in to choose to be your children. And just an incredible family life. Oh my goodness, you guys are amazing. I love this vibe I see around you guys. By the way, I'm seeing a ton of purple light around you, Molly. Do you ever see purple light? Do you ever call on it or visualize it? Whether you do or whether you don't, purple light is often an energy that we see around someone with sometimes spiritual gifts or spiritual connection. Maybe they've been praying a lot or meditating a lot, that kind of thing. You've got a lot of this purple light, and the angels are actually sending you a lot of this light. And it's an energy that's working through you with regard to the family planning at every stage. So whether it's working on health and physical fertility, whether it's working on home and finances, working on your partnership with Noah, plans for parenting, all that good stuff. I'm just seeing this beautiful, beautiful purple divine light coming in, just sort of animating and guiding this whole movement towards family life for you guys. So it's so beautiful. And hey, if you want to really, really work more closely with the purple light or maximize and empower this step that you're taking and you're praying and you're manifesting, visualize purple light around it. So that's your way of consciously, calling it in, working with it, channeling it. I just was guided to pull a couple of cards for you. So I'm going to turn those cards over right now just to see if the angels have anything that they want to have you know. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so first card that we have is the Share Your Gifts card. Simultaneously, as I turn this card over, I heard a message coming in from the angels saying life purpose. It is part of your life's purpose to be a mother, a co-parent with Noah. Isn't that beautiful? It's part of your divine purpose. So it's a service, a gift that you're giving to the world to bring children, a family, into your life. Oh, I just can't tell you how good this energy feels. I keep getting little tingles up my spine when I connect with your energy with you guys. It just feels so happy and light and joyful. The next card I really love. It's the Rebel card. And again, I'm actually having a continuity here where I'm seeing the angels again giving us that signal of divine life's purpose. So what they're telling us is that, first of all, you and Noah have so much beautiful potential within you to be really, we could say, enlightened parents, conscious parents. So maybe rebelling against, or a better word might be like improving upon the old parenting beliefs and tactics of the past and coming up with something that breaks the mold, that fits, the new consciousness maybe a little bit better. And they're showing us by the way that your children, you'd be blessed with souls that are already new and fully programmed with that new consciousness kind of thing. So you'd be great parents for these souls that would want to be in your life. The final card that we have for you is a card that says, say thank you. And oh my gosh, I wish I could show you a picture of what this card has on it. It's a couple who are hugging, and it looks like one of them brought a bouquet of flowers to the other. And this is so interesting and it's so exciting, but I'm feeling Archangel Gabriel around you really strong. She actually guides parents and children and fertility and stuff like that. And Gabriel is telling us, this is so cool, that gratitude and appreciating our partner actually really, really opens the gates towards manifestation. It has this amazing way of upping our fertility, not just at a physical level, but also at a spiritual, mental level too. It opens up that readiness. We have a sense of ready, set, go, trust. And we attract really, really great conditions for bringing children into the world or bringing any new thing into a partnership when we've got lots of gratitude, appreciation, and love that we're actively practicing, appreciating and sharing with our partner. So just keep that in mind and enjoy this exciting path going ahead. Thank you so much, Molly. All right, let's go to another one. We have Noah. Oh, that's so interesting. Another Noah. And Noah says, I wanted to reach out to ask if there's any guidance that the angels have for me in my current life position, and if there is any communication with loved ones who have passed. I also wanted to find out who, if any, angels reach out to you or stay with me regularly. Okay, Noah, I'm scanning your energy. Okay, there's two angels I'm seeing you around you really close right now in this moment. I see Archangel Ariel, who is an angel of courage and also an angel that helps us to connect with the earth and with abundance. And I also see Archangel Gabriel, angel for communication, and now, as we already said before, for nurturing, parenting children, manifesting in that way. I do see Archangel Michael working really close with you too, and Raphael once in a while as well. I see several guardian angels. I see lots of rainbow light being sent to you from the other side. It looks like ancestors as well as descendants from the other side send you rainbow light, which is really interesting. And I do see a lot of ancestors, but for the sake of making sure that we get like a specific message from one of them, the one that's chosen to kind of step forward and stand out is what appears to be a grandmother, perhaps. I'm seeing a female, so it could be grandmother or great-grandmother. The sense that I'm getting is that she's, angels, she looks like she might be on the male side of your family, the paternal side of your family. And her presence is just really big and really warm when I'm tuning into her. One thing that I'm seeing when I'm connecting with her, just a little flash that kind of came through, I'm seeing one of those checkerboard tablecloths, and she spread it out on a table. And then on the table, she's laying down, food and a bunch of other really nice things. And it feels like it's a sign of abundance when I connect with her. And your ancestors collectively all together now as a unison group are all saying, we are guiding the energy of abundance into your life. Abundance. So there's going to be maybe a lot of transition and growth there, which will be very beautiful. Let's turn over a card for you, Noah. Let's just see what the angels would like to show us here. Oh, I love this. Okay, so first card that comes through is the Keep Dancing card. So this says, keep essentially moving the energy forward. In other words, don't allow energy to become stagnant. Keep moving, keep growing, keep things really fresh in your life. That will help you with, again, manifesting more abundance, which looks like it's in the cards for you. Looks like it's what your guides are helping you with. And then the second card is Start Anew, which really goes well with this Keep Dancing card where they kind of told you to keep it fresh, because Start Anew basically says that if you're ready to kind of stay with it with, really fresh new energy, moving, going, allowing new ideas to come in, taking action on them and that kind of thing, it helps you with making a new beginning. And there's some kind of a new beginning that actually seems like it's moving through you. In order to get the most out of whatever new beginning you're meant to have in your life, the angels are saying, do a little bit of inner self work based on forgiveness towards any disappointments or challenges of the past. And call on the angels as you do so. They will help you amazingly. Thank you so much for that question, Noah. Let's tune in to Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, I was just wondering if there's anyone trying to get through to me. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Hi, Elizabeth. Okay, so let's tune in. Interesting. This is our second reading where we're doing a little mediumship, which mediumship is when we've got loved ones, human souls on the other side in heaven who want to communicate with us. So Elizabeth, when I tune into you, again, there's usually with everyone a big group of loved ones that are on the other side, but we're just going to focus and let one come through. That way we can kind of get something specific for you. So just because one is coming through and maybe not a bunch of others, it doesn't mean that those others aren't there. They're there. It's just that this is the one that's stepping forward that the angels are guiding us to connect with. And I'm actually seeing a male stepping forward. This is someone who's really reliable, who stands tall, someone who's confident. The angels keep pointing to his spine, and I'm getting this like backbone, this feeling of courage when I'm tuning into this person. I'm also getting someone who was very gentle at the same time, a feeling of sweetness and gentleness, who like to provide for others. So this male in your life who's watching over you, communicating with you, it's giving you a message of healing. And one of the big messages coming forward for you has to do with love. This loved one, this person who's guiding you is saying, I'm guiding support into your life. I'm guiding gentleness, trustworthy people, and love in your life. Beautiful love to support you. You deserve love. Find love, foster love, get love. This is what you're being given. Guided with the most. And by the way, one other little thing that the angels are showing us with this particular guide or loved one is that this person is, again, really smart, like we said before, but the angels are showing me books around this person. So this could have been someone who really liked to read. Also could be someone who will push information into your life, maybe sometimes in the form of books to read or other just pieces of information that you need to get. Beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, you guys, we are coming right to the end of our time, but we're going to squeeze just one more reading in today. This is from Jordan. Jordan says, I live in Northern California, and currently there are several wildfires burning near me, filling the air with smoke. This happens every late summer and early fall, but seems to be getting worse with climate change, and it's really scary. How can I overcome my fear of these fires and of the possibility that my home or my parents' home might be endangered by the next one? Also, can the angels explain why some people do lose their homes or why some entire small towns have been burned? It seems so horrible and unfair, but I assume there must be some divine purpose. I just wish I knew what it was. Gosh, me too. Me too, Jordan. That's the human in me speaking up about that too. I don't pretend to be some enlightened guru that completely understands, the way that suffering kind of works, why and where and how it comes in. But I have, channeled and learned some messages from the angels on suffering, though I don't have the same consciousness as they have with regard to understanding its inner workings. I've learned some things with them about this. And one thing that I'm just going to tell you, simply because I can't condense, the whole, I guess, give justice to the whole message that I really wish I could, fully give you in this. We don't have hours to answer this question. We have just a couple minutes. I'm going to refer you to one of the previous podcasts I did just a couple months ago. You'll find it if you scroll back into previous podcasts on suffering. It's called How to Face Suffering. And I channeled lots of angel messages on that. So basically, just to kind of sum up, one of the things that's coming forward that's really going to be good for you to remember here is that suffering does not necessarily come into our lives because some people deserve it and some people don't. You know, that's not how it works. It's not some sort of, karma thing where karma is this punishing force, or this force that has anything to do with deserving and, that kind of stuff. Suffering, however, is something that can be faced with a little bit more grace, a little bit more peace, when we release resistance and attachment to it. So one of the ways, to answer your question, that you can help to transcend the fear of these things is to release the feeling of resistance and attachment. Resistance and attachment are the same thing. We'd think that resisting is us trying to run away from the thing, but it actually only makes us attached to that thing we're focusing on. That's what fear does. It attaches. So just focus on releasing resistance. Maybe even thinking that thought we were focusing on today. God's will be done. God, please show me. Show me. Show me faith. Show me the consciousness of love. Help me to face with the consciousness of love. Because when you face suffering with the consciousness of love, suffering ceases to be suffering, actually. We transcend the suffering and something else entirely comes through. In fact, even miracles come through. So that's a good place to start, my dear. I'm sending you prayers. In fact, everybody listening right now, can we all send prayers to Northern California together? Imagining the angels surrounding California, also surrounding anywhere and everywhere in the world that is dealing with, natural disasters, with wildfires and so forth. Protection for the land, the environment, the people, the communities. Seeing blankets of soft, cooling blue light, and Archangel Michael the protector surrounding everyone and everything. May all be well. May all be safe and at peace. And so it is. And one last message for you, sweet Jordan, from the angels, is that while all this is going on, I know this can be a challenge, but one way that you can actually lessen suffering in yourself and in others is just to find at least one or two little things every day to feel joyful about, to laugh about. So even when you're going outside and you're smelling that bonfire smell of smoke in the air, oh my gosh, I know how scary that must be. Even on days like that, take even just a second to find something to laugh about, to smile about, to feel okay about. Trust God, put your hands in the consciousness of love completely. Surrender to it. It can only manifest good things. And I swear to you that as you're focused in a consciousness of love, of faith, of leaning on the divine, on angels, on this consciousness of love, that it will take care of you. It leaves nothing undone. It protects everything. It takes care of everything. And my continued prayers and love go with you, my dear. Thank you. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I will be back again, of course, next month for another episode of Through the Eyes of the Angels right here on September 17th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Also, I loved keeping in touch with you guys too, so feel free to drop in and say hello on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. I love sharing angel messages with you guys there regularly. So if you're wanting more angel support and tips and guidance, just go ahead and check out my offerings on those platforms. Also, if you'd like to work with me personally and the angels, of course, on your spiritual path, visit my website, sarahhall.com, for more info on that. And as always, it's such an honor and joy to share with you. And I'm wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.